Okay, making a video in a minute. Yeah, I have to turn this thing on. There. See? That's nice, isn't it? Yes, kind of. So anyway, trying another experiment. So I took one of my old sort of broken flip cameras and put it on the gimbal-y thing, and which is a steady cam kind of stick thing. Yeah, anyway. Uh, so I could do better video of stuff I might see, when the garden's a better garden and such. So we'll see how this works out. So it's just the circuit board from the camera, some sort of hairy thing. Yeah, it's not really pointing right. So I'll try the button. Yeah, it's always dangerous. Yeah, see, it points better that way. In that mode, it's better. So see, it'd be for like zoom into things like that, and that might be interesting, or maybe not. Also allows me to change where the microphones are, so the stereo should be more stereo-ish, which unfortunately there's a little bit of wind, so that might not work out. And the focal length isn't too good either, and this camera is sort of yeah, sort of unreliable, but yeah, we'll see. Oh, come on. Yeah, the bottom of the camera almost hits what it shouldn't. Maybe I gotta turn it this way. Yeah, that's it always wants to point this way. Okay, so I'll let it do what it wants to. Oh, now it's going to point down. Alright, I'm learning. Take me a minute, or longer, perhaps. Yeah, I have to figure out. See, it gets rid of, like, side to side and this way, if it's turned this way. Yeah, I don't know why you can't, well, anyway. I could try the third mode. Let's try 3. Probably didn't do it right. Anyway, so I'll add some philosophy. So just turn, look down, oops, down, down, down. Okay, up a little, not quite that far down. Stuff in the cage there. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't quite return. Anyway, I know that's probably not interesting. So we'll look in here. See, the stereo should be different now. I should be on the other channel when I'm looking at something than when I'm facing the camera. Should be that way anyway. Did notice that the flip cameras actually have extra red lights that you don't get to see. Yeah, they have too many LEDs built into this camera. It's just kind of a waste. Probably why they get hot, and the battery has to work harder than necessary. Can't do that. Causes jitter. Okay, so the philosophy part. So I was just thinking in the most general of terms. I just don't know what the right position is. Where do you start? You start with the idea of why life, why something, not nothing. And to me, the question's kind of moot, because obviously this something is here. But what you can kind of, I think we're logical enough to be able to understand that there's nothing about us that implies intelligent design. So I've made lots of videos kind of harping on that theme, that fundamentally we're not a perfect thing. We're not even it's not even cost effective by my description or definition. And I just can't get this position right. Let me go back to the first mode and see if I can get anywhere. Holding in some other, some other way. Yeah, it'd be good if you could, if it would turn. Yeah, no, it won't do that. All right, never mind. Yeah, this is no way to make a video. I know. But, yeah. Better to do it talking than not talking. I mean, if I'm going to do tests, I might as well do tests too. It's a wet chair. I don't think I'll do that. So I'll try this one. So anyway, it's still quite ain't right. My arm will get tired and the lens isn't the right distance, but whatever, we'll work on it. Yeah, I can't get the tilt up anymore. Second mode maybe. Okay. So, the God idea just doesn't make any sense, because you'd have to figure out, why does a God need, why are the gods imperfectly designed? They have agendas and such that aren't rational. Like, I want to play with feeling things and watch them struggle, and what sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. This whole testing babies, things born into the world we think basically innocent, but somehow they're already guilty, and we're already trying to set a trap for them so we can send them to hell, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. So there's no creation. So, the physics just doesn't, there's people that just think there's some sort of magic somewhere, there really is something underneath it all that somehow made it all, or somehow was running it all, and that there's some sort of reason, or rational reason, or something sensible, something somebody could understand. And that's sort of the problem, right? They made gods that they could understand. So they made gods that had all the flaw of a passion, of desire, of need even. You could say it that way. That's it just doesn't have anything to do with perfection or good engineering, like a well-designed building or something. We're nothing like that. This system is nothing like that. And it's only pleasant to our sensibilities because we engineer it to be so. I didn't plant a bunch of weeds over here, I didn't plant a bunch of, grass or wheat or, just junk. No, we filter out of the world the bits we like, the things we find pleasant, and we surround ourselves with that filtered environment suited to our needs, and the needs all came from this process of evolution. So anyway, I've argued physics, and will continue to argue that there isn't anything. It's a mechanical system. There is no random or loose or magical or in any way controlled elements. There's rules, but the rules are really simple, like if you went left yesterday, you go right today kind of rules. There's nothing high-minded. There's nothing interestingly philosophical in the rules. They're just crude and simple. So anyway, that's sort of the starting foundation, in my opinion. If somebody believes in gods, or they believe in numerology, or astrology, or magic cards, or forces beyond blah blah, some kind of beyond thing, then we're going to have a problem understanding each other, because I don't see any room for that. don't see any potential for that to be possible. It really is tricky finding just the right position. Anyway, it's either a little tilted high or a little tilted low. Have to work on that. Have to put like a mark on it or something, I guess, so I know exactly what parallel is. Can't really tell just looking at the camera. So anyway, yeah. So that's to me the starting point is if you accept the unintelligent design part of the universe, the fact that it's just crude, simple rules that they didn't intend to make animate, feeling, conscious organisms, that's just a byproduct of the fact that the chemistry does the physics thing, and the physics thing allows it to become more and more complex, to just keep adding little bits and specific arrangements that in a fractal kind of sense, in the sense that there's yeah, so I said I don't want to, it's not the same thing going down, but it's the theme is the same in the sense that the bits are the same, the fundamental bits, but you can arrange them in circles or squares or triangles or octagons, and it's that arrangement that leads to the possibility of an arrangement like us, complex one. So, if there's anything, nothing really here, just tomato plants. Come on, you didn't move. You're supposed to move and tilt. So you have to learn how to do this panning thing. Anyway, yeah, and I've sort of said, like I say, if you do take the God out of it, you take the fairies out of it, you take any kind of intention out of it, then you're stuck with the facts of what most of nature is doing, which is killing babies and children. I mean, that's what it does more than anything else that it does, is that it kills an awful lot of demonstration models brutally and at a very young age. And I would think by kind of fundamental, it would be a fundamental part of your understanding from being a sentient feeling organism that you wouldn't want that to happen to you, that you wouldn't want to be the victim of the brutality or the cruelty, the wrong words, because they imply, brutality doesn't, but cruelty obviously implies an intent, but just the harshness of this mechanism, the game, the nature of the game, to make these wanting, needing things, and then to force them to really make a mess out of each other, to survive, to want another day. And that's all we really do, is we survive so we can want some more stuff tomorrow, and maybe once in a while feel all satisfied, but most of the time feel a little underfinished, underdone, undercooked. I need a little more time. I need a little more time. At least I feel that a lot. Yeah, I need a little more time to get done what I need to get done. And why do I need to get it done is, this whole argument about what our psychology is doing to us, in, obliging us to, play, and to play hard, and, to play to an extreme. It's an export. Very high risk, Failure's really expensive, you know, and yeah, we have to be really motivated to accept that. So it really is just, everything is so, just too much rain, but in a way it's been very good for, let's see if I can get this to go up. Yeah, there's up. But it's been very good for everything. Everything is really very, very, very green. So anyway, I guess this is enough of a test. And I'll add to this video, I suppose, with a... See, it's almost so simple. I mean, it really does come down to whether you have some kind of, if you're holding out for some sort of mystical, fundamental function of the universe that has something to do with feeling things, thinking, you know, having a notion in their head that the universe is looking out for them, or that has a plan for them, that there's, you know, some more to the story. And you know, that's I guess part of the motivation thing. I mean, that's obviously an idea that's going to get people, that's going to make people more motivated. So it's probably one that psychologically is rewarded in some ways, with pride and vanity. And these are almost ready to do stuff. Almost ready. I do have some flowers over here. Got a couple of daisies. Let's see if I can get to the daisies in a graceful way. Yeah, that seemed pretty good. Yeah. So, I don't know how much noise this thing picks up. Yeah, some flaws in the design, I'd say. So it does sometimes pick up the noise. So, those are verbena. Yay! These are, I don't know, some kind of snapdragon or something, I guess. Lovely color when they're fully flowered. But, yeah, you gotta be careful not to overextend its elbows. So, again, I didn't finish. You know, I say, oh yeah, I'm done, but no, I'm not done. So this isn't very practical, but we'll see how it goes. I went to the trouble to make it, so I'm probably going to try to use it, whether you like it or not. But yeah, it does need a different lens. Better get a wide angle lens fit on it somehow, glue it on and such. Yeah, might as well go over here and take a look at this before it's about ready to fade. So, the amaryllis. Whoa, that, there you go. Yeah, it's pretty good. And such. Oh yeah, and these blue things, they're almost done, so be the last chance to see them before their little leaves fall off. Yeah. Whatever the hell they're called. I'll never remember the names. I don't like names. Yeah. Pretty nice. Whatever they are. I like the color. So, yeah, anyway, getting there. So I have to figure out how to turn the camera off. Yeah. Let's see if I have anything out here I can use without having to go back inside and find a little poking stick. I need something very thin. Very, very small. And I have to turn the gimbal off first, and then everything flops. It doesn't gracefully collapse, it just kind of, yeah, I don't think it's very healthy for it. But I don't think I can turn off the camera with the gimbal on, but I can try. If I can find something. A piece of wire ought to work, I just don't have one here. Maybe there's one over at the table over this way. zoom, zooming down the yard, up, 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 up. And I keep forgetting to. Doesn't tilt very far up, but up is where I want to be. Ah, there is a piece of wire. All right, let's see if I can do this. I can always aim it at something and then try to hit the button. Well, that's not very good. Let's aim it at something better. Oh, yeah, this way. Yeah, the yard, sort of. The yard that matters. So we'll see how this works. A little add-on video. Keep it small because I don't want to have to edit the video. I just smashed them together, the test video previously, and this video. So I guess I'll just put the camera down here, and I was going to respond to a holiday video, but I figured that'll just take too damn long. And it's on these subtleties again of determinism and feudalism, and he can't seem to get any of the language correct. Concepts. You can't get the concepts right even. The contradictions in his statements are amazing. Anyway, I agree that water is wet when it's not dry. Something like that. Anyway, so the side subject to the determinism thing is the way we perceive whether or not we're caught in something just strictly mechanical. You know, that there's rules obeyed, and that one of those rules is that there are trends built into the rules. So you'd say that the rules of evolution, although incredibly simple, right? Survival of the fittest, replication creates mutation. Okay, so you have imperfect copying taking place, and that's one of the rules, that the copying is imperfect, flawed, errored. I mean, what the fuck? No. Anyway, so so there's just a couple of simple rules, right? So you have error in the copies, and then you make a lot of these stuff, and then you have a small container that it has to struggle to survive in, and those simple rules lead to the nature of the complexity is going to fit into some sort of cone. It's not going to be anywhere. It's going to be narrow in terms of what you're going to have to be obedient to. You're not going to be preposterously eccentric. You're going to be eccentric within limits, like the peacock, for example, you know, in its mating rituals. I mean, the whole thing being based on how pretty your feathers are, and how pretty your feathers are basically says you win all the fights you're in because nobody ever pulls any of your feathers out. You know, all of these little structures are built in, but you can only be this much eccentric and no more, or you will fail. Because any eccentricity, any waste, has to have connected to it some sort of productive event. You know, you have the waste that comes out of your car engine, but you have the productivity that comes with it, you know, and the heat and the other waste that's involved. So you can be somewhat imperfect in this, how you play, but there's always this tendency to maximize performance. And I would argue that the same kind of evolution, in theory, can happen with memes. And the only thing that would stop us from becoming more and more knowledgeable and intelligent, that is, more and more having a more and more accurate understanding of what's happening around us, approximation, let's call it. I mean, it's definitely going to be your understanding, but your understanding is going to be an approximation, because obviously you can't manage all the detail. You can't manage to know where each molecule is or where each quanta is. You can only manage to know the bulk objects, the galactic, you know, you can see the galaxy, maybe not the little individual stars, that kind of thing. Our perceptual limits, within our understanding within perceptual limits. And yeah, and so we can sort of understand that there are rules, the basic rules of this competition of ideas, and some of them have to do with the fact that you establish early on some sort of respect for the truth talkers, not the snake oil sellers. And in a sense, they'll eventually become a hierarchy where the good stuff rises to the top. Now, obviously, we have lots of chicanery in the system. Lots of people are. We have liars. Liars are what makes the world a bad place. The politicians, the backroomers, the people, just the dishonest and dishonorable assholes that we give power to, and unfortunately, and those people get our ball rolling the wrong way. Frauds like these religious kooks who create fake performance art, pretending, using radio devices to pretend they have superpowers and can communicate with God and find out stuff from God about you and blah blah blah. And they'll make an argument that somehow, oh, I'm doing it for your benefit, to strengthen your faith, and as if that there's anything honorable in this at all, and there's nothing honorable in it. And so all the liars have some sort of rationalization. But without those lies that the religious kooks tell all the time, in the sense that they've already lied to themselves and then they wish to lie to everybody else about how wonderful it is to believe in God, and how their faith has done so much for them. And it's really just a desperate way to cover their embarrassing psychologies. The fact that they are bugs and they just don't want to admit it. So rather than prove it that they're not by deed, they just do it by words. But anyway, but the tendency, you could argue, is that the test of the battlefield of ideas, although a very flawed battlefield in the sense that the shooting straight doesn't necessarily get you anything. It's not a very good arcade. All the balls, when you throw them, they're all wacky balls. They're all a little bit crooked. So the game is not a straight game. But even with the crooked game, you can sort of see that certain tendencies are going to work out, in the sense that car engines last longer than they used to, and so performance increases, because that's sort of what people demand over time, is an increase in performance, generally speaking, an improvement. And that definition of improvement usually has some sort of pragmatic and practical definition. So anyway, I'm just making the argument that the determinism, part of the determinism is the conversation, is the competing ideas, the arguments, and they've got to be made and they've got to take place and all of that stuff for the inevitable victory of intelligence over idiocracy. That's what it requires. It requires the intelligent people to actually talk intelligently, not talk sycophant babble to popular demands and popular culture and popular ideology. They've got to worry less about being popular and worry more about the fact that they are representing the truth, and they've got to represent it well. They've got to be a good spokesman or messenger for, or to carry the torch, so to speak, without dumping it in sewage. So anyway, so it's kind of a side subject of determinism, is the idea of understanding that the universe does have a sort of logic built in, and there can be forces that break, and then the logic is just dependent on what's established as fact. So like I said, you will have idiocracy if you let people stagnate in completely fallacious and insanely stupid ideas,
like God. And people smart enough to know better have to say better. And or you will just facilitate the disease winning rather than the cure winning. But like I said, if given enough time, I don't think there's any way you could stop the Borg of the truth. The truth Borg will win if it's given enough time to win. Because it's too fundamental to our functioning process. Obviously, our brains are made to perceive the world accurately, not inaccurately. We're created to see the trees where the trees really are, not where the trees aren't. That's what makes you successfully navigate the trees, is putting them in the right place in your mental picture. And likewise, philosophically, having the forest of philosophy constructed out of nonsense will not make you a good navigator of our world, as long as the game has